So let's talk about the things that all great one-handed backhands have in common. So when it comes to the preparation, you're going to see that all great one-handed backhands will have a big turn. So their shoulder blade will be turned towards the opponent and their chin will be over the dominant shoulder, tracking the ball. Now, the greatest one-handed backhands in history will also loop the racket. So the non-dominant elbow will be high and it will lead the racket as it's going back, and players will loop. Now, of course, from the loop, there will be a racket drop. And because of this aggressive setup where the shoulder blade is turned towards the other side, naturally, the rotation will not be initiated yet. The racket will drop behind the body and the strings will be positioned parallel towards the back fence. And this is a fundamental element that you will see across the board. Now here's where it gets super interesting. All players will rotate into the contact. The big advantage of having this aggressive setup is, number one, you get more torso rotation into the contact, but you also get more range of motion because there's a bigger runway for the racket, so to speak. The most common mistake that I see at the recreational level regarding the one-handed backhand is that players don't have an aggressive turn. They will turn with their chest being parallel towards the side fence, and the racket will naturally drop also parallel towards the side fence with the tip pointing straight back. And now players will sometimes not rotate at all and just use the arm, and other players will begin to rotate and they will end up over-rotating on their one-handed backhand. And also, because the racket is positioned towards the side fence, their runway is a lot smaller compared to the one-handed backhand technique that you will see at the high level. Back to the torso rotation, and this is not unique to Roger. Like I said, all great one-handed backhands have this in common. They will have a strong torso rotation into the contact. And here's where it gets very interesting. Some players will stay more sideways. Some players will have more of a continuing rotation and their chest will be pointed towards the other side. All players will have a circular swing path. So if you take a look at the hand, you will see that it's moving in a circular fashion around the body. If you want to be more specific, it's the hand that's rotating around the shoulder. So this begins with the initial rotation and it's just simply continued where the hand rotates around the shoulder. And a fundamental element on the finish is the fact that all players will have the hand above the level of the dominant shoulder on their finish. And this is independent on the amount of rotation after the moment of contact. There will always be a circular swing path. And it's not only that, players are executing topspin. So it's not just a circular swing path, it's a vertical swing path at the same time. The tip of the racket goes up and across the ball, and very shortly after the moment of contact, the tip of the racket starts going above the level of the handle. So in other words, the hand goes beneath the racket head as it's going up and across.